Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. After playing it about 130 hours now, man, I have a lot of thoughts, right? like, I have a lot of thoughts. What's up, YouTube? This is your boy G back in another video. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's kind of like a game of a decade for me, or just the best overall game that I played. And I played a lot of games, right? Now, the thing about games, once you finish them, a little bit of hype, right? A little bit of memories, you will forget what you do, what you did. However, this game, when you're actually playing it, and you're appreciating, right, things are like coming little by little, it's just mind blowing, right? So typically you're gonna say like 10 out of 10. This game, I don't know, 100 over 10. Right? It's just for me. Now, for me personally, I came from like a lot of reasoning for that, right? I'm an avid Final Fantasy 7 OG game fan. I am, I'm the 90s kid out there that definitely love Final Fantasy. Even the remake, I absolutely love the remake. I did not anticipate, though. I did not expect that this rebirth will just go ham like this. It's insane. I will say this is a spoiler territory already, because again, I finished the game for about 125 hours, actually 130 127 hours, something like that, and I'm now playing in hard mode, which is ridiculous, by the way. It's definitely hard than the dynamic. But I will just say first that this video has a lot of spoilers on it, because we're gonna break down what happens. This is what I love about this game. It's gonna make you think, right? Now, a lot of games out there, will use your skill, like Elden Ring and things like that. But this game will use your intelligence, right? On mix matching materia and things like that, leveling up, and then more importantly, or the most important things, is actually the story. Story of this game is just, I don't know, story of the decade. I can't think of a game that has a better story than this. Let me rephrase that. It's not only about story though. It's about character, right? I cannot think of any other games out there. And again, I've been a gamer for like 30 years, and I cannot think of any other characters out there that is better than this, in terms of build up, character love, how they build up the character and how you will care. This is like the best of that one. Now I'm getting ahead of myself here because I really want to talk about something, but again, spoiler territory, because I will talk about a lot of stuff on this game. 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm already sleeping, of course. I will just all of a sudden, uh, you know, wake up thinking, whose Aerith is this again? What happened to Cloud? Is Aerith really dead or something? I cannot even sleep, and then, it just all clicked on me. I then realized everything that happened, on the actual video game, the actual game, and then it just hit me like a truck. What you're noticing right now is Cloud on the final part of it. This is Aerith actually praying, right? Again, this is spoiler territory, but nothing's happening here yet. So if you don't want to get spoiled, or you haven't finished the game yet, or you don't want to hear anything from this, feel free to skip and then just go back later on, for discussion once you finish the game. But if you're interested in knowing my thoughts and my actual breakdown on the game itself, because I broken it up, like I think I know everything, right? I know the answer for all of the problem questions that you have in your mind right now. I will definitely lay it out for you, and it'll all make sense. Now, actually, that's what we're gonna do first, right? Before I formally review it, or explain to you why it's like 100 over 10 for me, game of the decade, and so on. I'll explain that deeply for you. But before we move on, I will break it down first, for actual game. Now, spoiler territory again, and I expect that if you're still on this video up to this point, that means that you're interested in knowing my thoughts, right? At least, or want to break it down with me on the comments. So just go ahead and comments down below your own version, if you actually agree on my interpretation, or if you have your own interpretation or analysis on the game. Feel free to do so, because that's what's amazing in this game. it's free for interpretation, which is just absolutely nuts, right? For a game. By the way, subscribe, guys, if you're not subscribed yet. I unbox gadget. Primarily, I unbox things that I buy, but I always, upload gaming videos like this as well, especially the games that I love. That is my PS5, by the way, with Sasuke as, like a vinyl there, a PC game. So I typically play PlayStation 5, PC, and then I have Steam Deck. But typically, I use Steam Deck on my bed remote, connected to the PlayStation 5 if I'm feeling lazy and don't want to game here. All right. I got 14 items here. Number one point that I want you all guys to know is Aerith is the one who basically sent the smoke signal on the Nibel runway, on the Nibelheim area, now region, Nibel region, to both call Sid and Cloud. Let me repeat that. Aerith is basically the one that sent the smoke signal to call Sid and, Cloud's party. You might think, oh, it's probably Sid who sent the smoke signal. It's not, because Sid is the one who's asking someone to send a smoke signal so that he's gonna arrive. But remember, we did not send that, right? After you did your quest on the Nibel region, and at some point when the story progress, a smoke will be sent on the on the runway, on the Nibel runway, and everyone's like thinking, who sent that? Maybe it's Sid who sent that. Even Aerith asked that. Again, I will clarify in a bit, but it's actually Aerith, who sent that. You want to know why? Remember on the last part of the game, or rather on the CGI of the ending, right, where they're already on the fixed or repaired version of the Tiny Bronco, Cloud is talking to Aerith there, right? Again, I will discuss that further later on. But remember what Aerith mentioned? Aerith said, I'm going to send some signal. So that is actually my item level 2 here. Aerith was able to send that smoke signal because she was alive on that timeline. Again, I will, it's very weird, but hear me out, and everything will make sense to you, right? So Aerith was able to send the smoke signal because he was actually alive on this timeline, right? On the current timeline that we're playing, in the Rebirth timeline. Aerith, my point 3, it's all answer to my previous points. Point 3, Aerith sent that smoke signal because, again, she told Cloud that she's gonna do it. Remember? Cloud asks something like, are you gonna okay, heading back? And Aerith's like, what if I'm not? The normal flirtation way of Aerith. And then Aerith just said, or Cloud said, what if something happened? Right? And then Aerith said, then I will just go send a smoke signal. Right? So hear me out. Aerith said, I will just send a smoke signal. And she actually did that to call the party on the Nibel to ride the Tiny Bronco again. Okay, number 4. Aerith was alive, right? Now this is gonna go ham, right? This is go crazy. So hear me out. Until you actually finish these 14 items that I laid out here, a lot of questions might pop up and things might not make sense that much. But again, once you finish the 14 items that I'm going to discuss right now, everything will just make sense, and everything's like, oh, okay, it's really, really fun. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other people out there, there's a lot of guys and girls like me as well that broken down this game the same way I did, right? So it's fun, right? I love this game. I definitely love this game. Okay, so number 4, Aerith was alive. Right? Again, Aerith was alive because Cloud managed to save her. All right, hear me out. Cloud managed to save her from this, actually, from Sephiroth. It was very clear that Cloud managed to clash sword with Sephiroth while Sep is going down to Aerith. Right? You can actually see it here. When Aerith was about to go, or when Sephiroth, about to go down, Cloud will actually like fight and then battle with Sephiroth. pushing his Masamune away, hence saving Aerith. This is the reason why Aerith was still praying after that, and her own white materia. We're gonna go ham on this white materia, so please follow with me here. This white materia is still intact on her braided pony thing. Now, I'm playing this right now. Let me see if I can actually go to that section. I'm just gonna, I just want to show you if we can actually make Sephiroth go down from the top, and then you will see right away that Cloud will fight Sephiroth, and then it's gonna be able to save him, right? So save Aerith. So I'm going down right now. Hopefully you can see that on my TV there. So it's just asking me. It's just gonna ask me to like press R2 here and L2, I believe. Some game stuff, but this is the very crucial part that every one of us needs to understand. See, Aerith is praying, right? And oh, good. Actually, it's not asking me to do anything anymore. Oh, okay. Actually, it does. So, Aerith is just praying here, right? It's alive. Again, I'm going to discuss that further later on. But then, look at this. I muted it, by the way, so it's not going to produce any sound. But just look at a video there. That is Sephiroth going down, right? So, there's the very important one. Praying. It's exactly just the first, appearance in the remake. Sephiroth is going down here, but look at this. He wasn't able to stab Aerith yet because Cloud actually intervened. See this? Bam! Right? Cloud managed to intervene, fought Sephiroth, hard on the hair, and then managed to push his Masamune away, saving Aerith, essentially. Now, look at this very particular stuff here. This is the most important part. So at this point, Sephiroth is, Sephiroth failed, right? Let me just put some volume in that. Sephiroth failed to kill Aerith. However, the interesting part is, I will discuss that in a bit, but look at this. Aerith is still alive, praying. No blood yet. Look at this moment. No blood, bam. Blood here. You notice that switch to a different timeline, to a different universe? That's the trick. I will discuss that further. And here, Aerith dies. So let me pause that in a bit there and discuss what happened, all right? So what happened is that, Cloud managed to save Aerith there. I will discuss more in a bit. But Cloud managed to save Aerith there. She was not dead, right? She's actually alive, still holding the white materia on her braided hair, right? But because Sephiroth is messing up with the, with the whispers, with the timeline, Sephiroth actually converged the timeline. Is also discussing that, heavily on the entire game, especially in this part. But since, Sephiroth converged the timeline, mixed them, matched them up, he actually managed to put Cloud and the entire party to the OG, right? This is weird. To the OG, which is 1997 timeline, right? So I'm going to call that 1997 timeline. Again, Aerith was alive because Cloud managed to save her. Again, very clear on what we saw. That's why Aerith was still praying before the switch, right? Remember, there's no blood on the Masamune. But then there's like a sudden switch that, it looked different, right? The green, whenever like Cloud encounters headaches, right? That's what happens, right? So there's a green, like a glitch or something. And that's where the blood appeared. And that's a different timeline already. That's what happened. But in the original timeline, on the Rebirth timeline, Remake's timeline, Aerith was actually alive and was able to, to save her. And that her own white materia, again, is still intact on her braided pony. Now, you might wonder at this point, like, nah, that's weird because Tifa, basically they're all sad and all. I will discuss that again in a bit and all makes sense. But what happened is the entire party was actually kind of like brought back to the OG timeline, or they essentially at least witnessed the death of Aerith, right? At this very moment, Remember, while the reason why Barrett and the party cannot enter, right? They cannot enter the temple easily like a normal entrance. There's like a magical portal there that Cloud was only able to enter when the Whisper actually broke it down. It's all representation that the inside of the temple is not a normal temple. It's actually the 1997 OG temple. That's the 1997 Aerith praying on that temple, not our Aerith, right? Or at least this world's Aerith. And, she's going to die. The our Aerith, or the Aerith for this world, actually just sent a smoke signal. She's alive, right? And again, more on that later in a bit. Okay, so let's move on. Now, number fifth item, right, or point here. That is the reason, right? Everything that I just discussed, that's the reason why Aerith was able to give Cloud, right, this very same white materia on their final date after falling to the live stream, that Separate is messing up after getting the black material in the Temple of Ancients, right? So let me discuss that in a bit. Remember when they're in the Temple of Ancients, Separate appeared and asked Cloud to give him the black material, right? And Eric's like, no, I'm not gonna give it to you. Not gonna give it to you. They they fought a little bit, but eventually Eric gave the black material to Cloud, but then she said something. Whatever happens, Cloud, I'm always going to be with you. Right? I'm always going to be with you. So even that Aerith dies, she will find a way to be with Cloud. More on that later on. It's super not. It's awesome. Now, look at this. When Aerith, right? When they fell, right, on that live stream or whatever timeline Separate's messing up, right, fighting them after getting the black materia. Remember, Aerith and Cloud, they woke up on Zack timeline, right, the sick Cloud there, and then Aerith here, and Aerith is like, just, this is just a dream, so just think of it as a dream. Actually, the title of that episode is even called Dream, right? The thing is, that ain't dream. It's actually real. It's just on a different timeline. Arguably, if dreams are basically just manifestation of us going to the other timeline, then that's dream, right? But it's exact same thing that Aerith did back on the remake, on Final Fantasy VII remake, when they're on Aerith's house, and then you're sleeping, and then you suddenly woke up. You look into the gardens, and Aerith was there, right? You actually approach Aerith there, and Cloud's like, "What's happening? Why are you here?" Right? Aerith was actually kidnapped by Turks that time, but he's like wondering, and Aerith said, "You tell me. Maybe you're dreaming." They're not dreaming. Aerith is like a transcendent, like a spirit. I will discuss that further here, but she has an ability to actually, traverse multiverse, or rather timeline, or more specifically, Cloud has an ability to actually see through the timeline. So just like Cloud can see ghosts or something like that. And again, more in this, especially in the 14th point later on, it's gonna blow your mind. But remember when they fell, right? They woke up on that sector 5, I think. And they actually had a date, right? A really fun one, taking a picture, buying candies and things like that. And then, after which, that Aerith, which is the alive Aerith, that's actually the one survived. She provided, right, or she gave Cloud the white materia. Now remember this: if Aerith is already dead, right? On this temple, right, that we have right now, if Aerith is already dead, she's not gonna be able to get the the white materia, because it falls here, right? Remember, it falls here when this, exactly this, right? So look at this. This is the white materia. As soon as Aerith dies, this white materia falls into the river, never to be seen again. Right? See? So Cloud, wasn't able to get that. However, why the hell, right? Why the hell Aerith has that? She doesn't have that. She doesn't have that anymore. Now you might ask, well, she's not dead yet by that time when they had a date. They're not here yet. That's why she got that materia. That's wrong. Remember, our Aerith, the person that we've been fighting with and so on, she actually doesn't have a white materia. She has a clear one, right? More into that later on. But remember, on Costa del Sol, Aerith and Nanaki on his original voice are actually talking when Aerith was like showering, right, taking a shower. Aerith was wondering why her materia is clear, not white, right? That means that Aerith, our Aerith, actually has a clear materia, not white, but this one has a white one. I'll discuss that why, and it's gonna blow your mind. All right, so that's our fifth item, right? Aerith was able to give give Cloud this very same white materia in their final date again after falling to the live stream. After Sephiroth got the black materia, and again, questions like, no, why? I just answered that, right? Our original Aerith has a clear materia, not a white one, because the white one is like a different Aerith. Aerith, point number 6, Aerith gave this white material to Cloud on that date so that Cloud can give this white materia back to her in the forest. As you probably remember, before going to this place, actually, Aerith ventured out alone in the forest, right? And took the white materia, right, from Cloud in exchange to a clear one. This is a very interesting one. This is a very interesting one. So let me repeat that. So Cloud can give it back to her in the forest, to her other self, the one that will die, essentially this one, which is actually, this is very interesting, which is actually the Aerith that we've been with for quite some time. The Aerith that actually died is the Aerith that we've been traveling all along. Not really like all along, but like from the beginning of the remake and sometime before the ending, before they fell into a stream. This Aerith that died is the Aerith that has a clear materia originally. The one that's talking to Nanaki, why is it clear, things like that. Again, this one, when she died here, she got this white materia that we can see here, right? Falling into the river. But our Aerith has a clear materia. Now, one thing that you can remember, back in the forest before going to this place, Aerith's kind of like teleporting. She's like a ghost because she, spoiler, she actually is a ghost. She's already dead. This game is like fucking with us, bro. But Aerith is actually a ghost already. More specifically, just not like a native residence of this timeline. She's actually from a different timeline. Again, I'm gonna go back to that later on. But remember, our Aerith has a clear, right, empty materia, and then when from the date with the other Aerith, after the other Aerith gave you the white materia, when you go to the forest, Aerith will take that white materia from you and exchange it with the clear materia. Right? That means that is our Aerith because she got that clear materia, but she's gonna swap that clear materia, giving it to you, and put the white one on her head. And basically, she's this. She's the one that died, with white materia falling in the river. Why clear materia, you ask? This is the interesting one. The white inside the materia actually signifies life of Aerith on that certain timeline. Right? If she's like supposed to be on that timeline. So if her white materia is intact, if it's just like white, that means she's alive and she belongs on that timeline. If it's empty, that means she's already dead, or AKA she doesn't belong on that timeline, right? She belongs on other timeline like the OG 1997 timeline, but she died there, right? That's why she's already dead. And she doesn't have that the white material that signifies her life because she's a trespasser on this timeline. Now, if you notice, if it's white, it means that she's alive in her correct original timeline, right? Like I said. But if it's clear, it means that she's dead, has no life on this specific time or whatever timeline she's in. She's basically from another timeline already. Very interesting part. That Aerith that we've been playing all along, I kind of like called this, initially when I started the remake, because I saw Aerith praying on the live stream, and remember, Aerith has a capability to talk to the live stream, so that means she will be able to talk to anyone, even see Sephiroth, even see her other self, right? She will be able to see everyone. But our Aerith was actually from the OG, right? The 1997 OG, which is already dead again on that timeline, killed by Sephiroth, hence she got a clear materia instead of white. Now, the interesting part of that? That is the main reason why when you first meet, right, Aerith on the Final Fantasy VII Remake, on the, is it Sector 8, on the Loveless Avenue, right? You first met with Aerith there, right? When she gave you a flower, the yellow flower that you eventually will give to Tifa. Remember that time. The very first time that we saw Aerith, she was actually being harassed by whispers, right? What do you mean by that? Because she don't belong on this timeline, right? Aerith was from the OG 1997. She then died and transferred here, and the time, the whispers are like, hey girl, let's go back there, you don't belong here. That's why she's being harassed by the whispers there, because remember, arbiter of fate, right? These whispers are here to ensure that the events on a certain timeline, or the events basically happens, right? It's not gonna change or whatever, but more on that later. So basically, the Aerith that was shown as dead or died on the hands of Sephiroth. Here, let me just what's that? So yeah, this Aerith, right, that died on the hands of Sephiroth, while praying, right, was indeed our Aerith in this Rebirth remake timeline. However, she didn't originate here. She actually like moved here from the 97 OG. The one fighting with us all, the thing is, she's basically long dead on the OG. Again, I called this initially, and I'm just so happy it continued that way. She's already dead, praying on a live stream to grant her access to the remake universe, right? Because she wanted to save her eventual life and other self and other universe and beat Sephiroth. But yeah, she's basically long dead on her own timeline, which is the OG. Hence, her material is clear again and no longer white. And Cloud was just actually witnessed that jump, on that timeline after saving original Aerith in this timeline. So that is the one that's messing us up. As soon as Cloud saved our own version, our Aerith, Cloud was like sent to the 97 OG timeline, which that's why he just witnessed Aerith's death. But yeah, that even dies or shows how she died, again, Aerith on the hands of Sephiroth. So on my 10th item here, just 4 remaining, guys, that's why, all right, take note, that's why Marlene back in the 7th heaven was able to detect this or see what's happening after she touched Aerith. That Aerith is not on this timeline, right? She just died on the OG, move on to our timeline again to be able to save the Aerith version here. That's why when Marlene touched her, because nobody really touches Aerith, but Marlene touches her, Marlene was able to like detect something, and Aerith is like, so number 11. That's why Aerith, again, I actually already pointed this out later on, but that's why Aerith in the very beginning was being chased by the Whisper. They're like, hey girl, you ain't supposed to be here in this timeline. You dead already, you're on your own timeline, biatch. Hell, get hella out of here, right? They're just really bullying her so that, to get it out on the timeline. And Aerith is like, nope, Cloud, help. And, she touched Cloud, and Cloud was able to see the whispers again, because Cloud is just a puppet, actually. He doesn't have a soul. So Zach, Sephiroth, Aerith, he can see everyone because Cloud doesn't really have like a soul that is like affiliated in a certain timeline. It's just a puppet. So number 12, that's why on the final battle with Sephiroth, again, the alive survivor, the version of Aerith. No, this is important, right? Hear me out. That is why on the final battle with Sephiroth, the alive survivor version of Aerith, right? Traverse timeline again. From the other timeline, she's alive, right? We already saved her. She's actually the one that again sent the smoke. Actually, we're the ones like on the messed up timeline already, or at least Cloud. But she traversed the timeline again, helped Cloud defeat Sephiroth because that's her goal, right? She moved on to this timeline to be able to combine forces with Cloud and defeat Sephiroth. Finally, that's why Sephiroth said, "I underestimated you." He's like, this bitch, she outsmarted me, managed to save a version of herself, and kind of like hid in some other timeline. That's why when Sephiroth saw her, actually, that's where you're hiding. Sephiroth said that, but yeah, he's mad that Aerith is so smart. She managed to save a version of herself, again, this one, where he dated Cloud for the last time and gave her white materia again for this one to die, and then, with her fighting Sephiroth to be able to beat Sephiroth. So 13, second to the last one, is, you know, we don't need to be sad actually, because I was extremely sad. As a matter of fact, I was actually crying when I finished this, because I thought they're gonna change the destiny of Aerith, that they're gonna like make her alive. But the OG happened, and it's split, right? And how funny, because the word split itself, the people had different opinion, right? So it's exactly like quantum physics, exactly like what they're trying to do, that things happen at the same time differently, which is like quantum, right? Like many worlds theory. Aerith is alive and dead at the same time. It's just on a different timeline, different universe. Timeline is universe, by the way, right? So it's kind of like Schrodinger's cat, right? That's why in the final battle here, they showed that Aerith, like, see, died here, but then on the other version, she's alive because, again, kind of like quantum physics, right? But don't be sad, right? Because she's actually alive, because, again, our Cloud saved her very clearly. The new version of her, right? The remake version of her. That's why it's Rebirth. The Rebirth version of her. Thing is, Destiny is just really an asshole. And in order to stick with the OG events, right? Whisper transferred Cloud and the entire party as soon as they entered this, sacred temple here, to the OG 1997 timeline where Aerith died. They want to like kind of like show the pain, right? It's kind of like hell, right? They want to show the pain where Aerith dies. At least Cloud is like seeing both, because since Cloud, like what I said earlier, since Cloud's like a puppet, right? You will also learn that in the part 3. So you got like Cloud got no soul or something. He got no affiliation with the timelines, again, like what I said, and he can see Zack and even fight with Zack, right? With Aerith, because Cloud sees all dimension, right? Cloud sees everything, and that's the reason why on the ending, Cloud can actually see the sky being ripped, right? Like the doomsday, the end of the world, while Tifa, Barrett, and others aren't seeing that. We think Cloud is like losing it, right? Cloud is like being crazy or whatnot. No, Cloud is trapped on the on both worlds, but literally at that moment, he's actually trapped on the current timeline, right? Or that timeline where Aerith is alive. That's why that's why she's there. That's why Cloud can see her, and that's why Aerith said, "I'm gonna send smoke," with, again, she did. But that's why Cloud can see the rip sky. That is actually the legit timeline already at that point of time. Uh, and the other one are just the normal Tifa Barrett one. Now, again, it's not omnipotent or something. It's just really like I don't know, transcendent or something. But yeah, Sephiroth, is kind of like on the timeline playing on a different, universe, same as Zack and same as Aerith. Now, this is why Aerith is scared, right? That's actually my second or my 14th point here. This is the main reason why Aerith is scared of skies, right? Aerith doesn't like skies at all. Why? Because her sky is actually ugly. The ripped version, right? The Doomsday. Why? Because she actually hid there, right? When Cloud managed to save her, she actually moved on to that place, and like she's like scared of that, and she also grew up in slums where you cannot see the sky, and that's why whenever she see the sky, she's just scared. Why? Because it's ripped on her version. That's why she's telling Cloud, please do not look into the sky. It's just an illusion. It's not real because it's just in a different timeline, right? But yep, that is actually my 14th point, and that is amazing because if you realize all of this will make sense, right? Especially Marlene, right, seeing what happened on her, and the whispers. Why are there whispers on the very beginning of the remake, right? Bugging Aerith. Simple. Aerith doesn't belong in that timeline. Whispers like, "Hey, let's go back to your timeline, you dead bitch." But then Aerith's like, "Nope, I'm gonna flirt with Cloud here and not allow Tifa to ride his chocobo." But yeah, let me know down in the comments below what are your thoughts about it. If you agree with all my points, 14 points, or you have your own interpretation. Again, this game is like free for interpretation, so just put it there and let's go ahead and discuss this amazing, amazing game. Let me break it down real quick. Why it's a game of a decade for me. I'm gonna go to the small points, right, and then the biggest one. Level of details, guys. You probably take a lot of things for granted when you're playing this game, and you're just like looking for something to complain at. The level of details, LOD, of this game is just bananas. I actually haven't seen any other game, even on PC, that has the same quality of LOD on this one. Have you checked the Cosmo Canyon? For example, if you go to Cosmo Canyon, and you climb the highest mountain or whatever, or you're in something high, you will actually see even the tiniest like windmills or something like that, or any moving objects on a very far detail, moving exactly as they are on the FPS that is supposed to be. So for example, I played this entire game on resolution 30 FPS. I can actually see all of those details on the very farthest point of the system running on 30 FPS, and that's just bananas. I played a lot of games, a lot of open world games, and you would notice right away the birds that are flying from afar is like moving on 2 FPS or 5 FPS of some sort. This one, you can actually see them all moving in the same damn FPS like you are. I don't know how they do it, but they just did. It's just magical. And those are little things that will actually adapt to the experience when you're playing it. You won't notice it that much, or you won't even pay attention, but overall, it's just gonna make the game so much better. Also, the details, man. Like, they went ham on this. If you go to the Junon region, right? The very first time that you will see the cannon and all the details, like it's just nuts. Every details are there and rendered in real time. None of these videos, right? None of these awesome set pieces are kind of like CGI. When you're playing them, when you're like visiting them, CGI is like super scarce in this one, super seldom. That is just really pointing a heavy narrative in the game. But whenever you visit the locations, things like that, it's just always amazing. It's real time rendering in-game engine, and it just looks nuts. Looks nuts, especially for a JRPG game. This is a JRPG game, right? It's not even like a Resident Evil game or something. Talking about Resident Evil, The biggest thing that everyone's probably taken for granted in this one is the amount of the content, the effort, the love, and just, jeez, everything that they put in this game. You will buy something like, I don't know, 80 bucks, 90 bucks or something, right? For a game that you will be able to finish in like 3 hours, right? I mean, Resident Evil, again, it's, supposed to be like that. I understand, and, so on and so forth. But this game, you will, again, let me remind that, guys, you can buy a game from $60 to $100, right? That you will just finish in like 5 hours, 4 hours, right? Top quality, it's fine. The 133 hours that I shelled out in this one, or 130 hours that I shelled out, everything's quality. I did not even grind. It's just nuts. I don't even feel my level. I'm just like playing along, right? Side quests. There's a lot of side quests in this game, and other people that typically, again, just looks for negativity or something, they might actually critic that, like, oh, it's too much or something. It's, how can you complain for something being too much? I actually don't understand. Like, too much? You're complaining? That means it's just too much. You don't need to go there, right? So, for example, if there's like 100 side quests or optional things to do, then just do 50 only. Do 20. And it's up to you. They're not cutting it out from you. Why would you complain for too much, right? For too little, definitely you can complain because, you're not yet contented. You want more, but then it's just like this. So you will ask for more. But for more, you will complain, but it's just too many side quests, too many games. No, those are options, right? Because, for example, if a game has like 100 mini games like this, right, or 50 mini games, whatever, you don't need to finish them all unless you're like me and some other gamers out there who really like appreciate games like this. But it's just giving us options to try whatever we want. So, for example, if they provided like 10 mini games out there, it doesn't mean that we need to try all of those 10s. It's like you're going to like an arcade shop or something, right? Like a kids gaming haven or something. You don't need to try all of them. Those are options, right? If I want to try to to use the bike racing, fine. The Queen's Blood, it's fine. I don't want the boxing, it's fine. There are people that may want boxing. There are people that they may prefer the boxing over the bike ride. Then at least they have that option, right? That's one thing that people forget. It's options. It's not mandatory that you have to finish them out. It's option. Of course, platinum is a different story. It's really trying your perseverance and challenge, achievement feeling. It's gonna be fulfilling. But for the game itself, it's not asking you to try anything. It's giving you options, right? And I hope a lot of people appreciates that, because businesses like Ubisoft or others, they don't give options because of how people think. They're like, this is your game. If you want more, you buy DLC, you buy stuff. I'll remind you guys, this game, you buy it once, like literally once. There's no microtransaction or any of those crap here. You buy it once, and it's like it's gonna give you like 10 games included on this already, all quality games. Like, it's just nuts. On the first 10 hours of the game, you're already happy. First 20 hours of the game, you're like, Jesus, you're just playing it for the first time. On my 80th hours, I'm still discovering new things that I feel like I'm playing a new game. Like, Jesus, I'm not even starting the new game plus or the hard mode or whatever. It's just bananas, guys. So it's absolutely worth it. That's why it's like game of the decade for me, because everything that I would need on a game is here, at least, especially on my age, nostalgia, memory, and the worth of my money. I don't want to buy games and finish it in 3 hours and then doesn't even want to go back to that, right? Secrets, right? Now, there's a lot of things here. The side quests and the side story, the little things actually that you do, they're all amazing. I cannot even stress that enough. They're all amazing. And that actually might be the thing if you don't appreciate this game. You might miss a couple of side quests or, discovery or something like that because you don't want to do those things, you think it's tedious or something, you're gonna miss a lot. You're gonna miss a ton. For example, if you don't, the optional thing, yeah, if you don't do the photo relic quest because you don't want to do it, like, yeah, it's mini game sucks. You have to do this games. It's too much. I don't want to do it. I'm just on story. You will miss Gilgamesh, awesome, epic new place, Gilgamesh Island. The capability or the ability to fight all of the summons, right? Like two at a time, with like a VR set, but not really VR background, the real background, like a lot of people are, requesting that. And Gilgamesh himself, you're gonna miss that. If you don't do the photo relic because you're like a quitter, you're gonna miss like a lot of things, a lot of special things that this offers. And then you will like complain, like, yeah, this ugly, it's not good, right? So those are the things that you can miss, and that's the thing. That's replayability. If you didn't, enjoy in the beginning, in the first one or something, you have the ability to go back, make yourself powerful, and try other things that you haven't tried the first time, right? It's just absolutely bananas, right? It's just super, super worth it. Best game of the decade for me. Best game I ever played. Actually, I played a lot of games. They're best in their own way, but this tops it all for the amount of contents of craziness and passion and heart that the developers of this game just put on this little game. And they charge what? Same price that like other games that you can finish in 2 hours charge. That's just bonkers, right? Final notes is the hard mode. Hard mode is literally hard mode, right? Like, I'm playing hard mode right now, and it's actually like, I'm just a couple of what do you call that, episodes or something, chapter. I think I'm in chapter 5. It's super hard, but that's great because it's making me strategize, right? I really swap materia, I level them all up, I use elemental to myself to really like absorb elements, and I don't do that initially. Even on the dynamic, it might feel difficult, sorry, it might feel easy, outside boss fights. So you will tend to just like spam whatever most powerful spell you have, right? Or ability you have. But when you try the hard mode, geez, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. You're gonna swap your material from one person to another, strategize your defense like ridiculously because you cannot use any items anymore. So what it's gonna do? It's gonna open another opportunity for you to experience the game in a different way, challenging yourself now, being intelligent. And guess what? The most amazing thing is that you don't have to do anything at all, right? Or everything at all. When you start this in a new game plus, or rather chapter select, right? Hard mode, you can just skip. For example, the chocobo, as soon as you get your very first chocobo, all of the chocobos will be available. You don't need to like fetch them or do their stupid first chocobo capture quest. They know that, they get that. The developer of this is like amazing what they do. So once you get the chocobo, you have fast travel available already outside main story. So you don't need to do everything that you did before, and everything's already unlocked because it's a new game plus. So all of your equipment, all the stores, everything, even the mini games are there. This is how you do new game plus, because some of other games, they will just open new game plus and you have to like play it all the same from the beginning using your equipment, but it's just all mandatory. But this one, the world is open, at least based on the story, so you can quickly like travel, like fast travel immediately, skip everything else, photo relic, everything. You already did everything, so you just skip that, skip on the story, and then use your time wisely on the actual difficulty. You have to strategize. So it's amazing, guys. I think I can spend like the entire day talking about this game, but I will leave you with this. This is just a quality game, right? Now, if us gamers demand certain quality like this, then game developer will have no choice but to create such quality, right? Because a lot of games like Ubisoft or something, for example, the very first Assassin's Creed are really good, but the people are like just just like buying that blindly or something. They just create like hundreds of spin-off with less quality already, just copy paste. You will never see copy paste in this one. I cannot even believe that this came from a remake. It feels like a totally different game than the remake, right? So it's quality. It's super high quality game, and if we demand, if we appreciate games like this, then the developers will realize that it's not all about tiny graphics or something. It's all about passion. It's all about effort. It's all about the quality of game that we're gonna give these gamers, which they will appreciate, and that's the one that worth their money. Not like some damn 2 hour game and charge us like $60 or something, which is just ridiculous, right? And then even charge us more for microtransaction for some colors or something. So yeah, I couldn't say anything else anymore. 100 over 10, game of the decade for me. But let me know, guys, your thoughts down below. Again, let's go ahead and discuss this, especially on my breakdown. Very, very interesting. So go ahead and discuss that. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet. Again, I unbox things, gadgets, and things that I like and upload gaming videos like this. But thanks so much for watching this video. That's all for today. Stay safe and see you on my next one. Peace.